Hi, I'm Amy Pearl, the president of RV Roads. I'm so excited that you've decided to join me on this journey to use assessments to supercharge your business. I first experienced assessments when I worked in corporate America. I managed a number of business units for a large bank, so I was often in assessment-based training and team building programs. But my recollection of those experiences were negative, embarrassing, and with no real outcomes. That wasn't the experience I wanted to create for my clients. Yet, I loved the potential assessments had for both my clients and my business. So I resolved to do three things. First, I would use assessments to understand myself and be the best coach and trainer I could be. Second, I would use assessments to bring real value to my clients. And third, I'd create passive revenue streams to be able to increase and count on my income. I decided to supercharge my business with assessments, and I want you to be able to do the same. So in this three-part video series, I'll share the secrets of how I've used assessments to create insight for my clients while making the money to create a life I love. In this first video, you'll learn what top coaches do to enhance their coaching outcomes and generate more revenue by using assessments. I'll also share my favorite analogy for understanding the different types of assessments on the market today. And you'll get 5 questions you should ask when choosing assessment tools. In the next video, I'll share how I've created predictable passive revenue with assessments and 5 things your competitors are doing to get clients excited about expanding the use of assessments in your market. And in the third video, you'll learn how you can upsell high-value coaching and consulting, the biggest mistake coaches make when using assessments, and how struggling coaches leave money on the table when they're using assessments. Plus, by subscribing to this video series, I want to offer you an up-close and personal look at one of my favorite assessment tools, the Workplace Big 5 Profile. Check the email I sent with the link to this video. It contains your private access information to try the Workplace Big 5 Profile absolutely free. So let's get started by looking at how top coaches enhance their programs and generate more income by using assessments. A study published in The Coaching Psychologist reported that 88% of supercharged coaches use assessments with at least 70% of their clients. In fact, only 12% said that they don't use assessments at all. Why do they find assessments to be so beneficial? Well, almost all of them felt that assessments opened up areas for discussion. 79% indicated that assessments provide useful sources of data. Half of them felt more effective in their work with clients. And 41% use assessments to provide structure to their coaching sessions. In fact, I found that when I use assessments with my clients, the coaching process practically facilitates itself. Top coaches use assessments to provide a non-threatening way to facilitate the process of self-discovery. Have you ever had clients with low self-esteem who've had a hard time articulating their strengths? This lack of knowledge holds them back. It might keep them from finding a job they love, achieving goals at work, or from building the relationships they need in life. Perhaps you've had clients who can't see that they're using some of their talents in the wrong places, or to such a high degree that their best strengths are actually becoming career and relationship limiting behaviors. Without the aid of statistically valid and reliable tools, the self-awareness process can be time-consuming. In fact, you might waste time building awareness that could be better utilized for building new skills and behaviors. Top coaches use assessments to paint the full picture for their clients quickly and easily. When I debrief someone using an assessment, I give them a blank sheet of paper with a line drawn down the middle. I write strengths at the top. While I provide the debrief, I tell them to write all the attributes and talents they hear about. By the end of the debrief, they might have 15 to 20 things listed. What a self-esteem booster! We can then inventory how these strengths help them and how they can capitalize on them even more. In fact, it's usually easier to maximize a strength than it is to overcome a weakness. Then, I ask them to pick 1 or 2 of these strengths that become their Achilles heel when overused or used in the wrong situation. Perhaps their attention to detail and desire for perfection keeps them from making decisions or executing tasks quickly. Some people might perceive them as slowing things down. This is something we can work to compensate for or develop in our coaching meetings. Assessments also provide the data I need to make a mental connection with business people. Managers love data, and they use data to make decisions every day. So of course, they're fascinated with data about themselves. But that's not all. Many times, my clients ask if they can get this information for the people that they work with every day. They know the data will give them a fast track to building better connections with their direct reports, peers, and even their managers. This leads to a sale for 5, 10, or maybe more assessments. And I never do assessments without sharing results, so I conduct one-on-one debrief meetings with each team member and or a group coaching session so that they can share their results with each other. Now, let's do the math for my coaching client's team of 5 direct reports. If I charge $250 per assessment and there are 5 team members, that gives me $1,250 in revenue. I charge a couple $100 for the debrief meetings, giving me another $1,000. And I charge $2,000 for my half-day group coaching session. I just supercharged my coaching engagement by $4,250 without having to network, prospect, or any of the other things that come along with selling. All it took was helping my coaching client to discover his own talents and potential high-risk traits. I got him excited about the data and showed him how to capitalize on it. If you add value to your clients, they'll in turn turn around and add value to you. Now, the next step is to find the right assessment tools for your toolkit. Did you know that a simple internet search for the word assessments reveals over 102 million entries? It's no wonder that coaches are confused and overwhelmed by all the options. But I use a simple analogy to put it all in perspective. It has to do with my theory on people. You see, I look at people like icebergs. And if you know anything about icebergs, you know that usually only 15% of an iceberg is over the surface of the water. The rest is what lies beneath. The same is true with a person. When I meet someone or see them, I'm observing their behaviors, skills, competencies, tendencies that they've developed over the years or that they apply in certain situations. But there are many things that drive those behaviors. First, past experiences will shape current behaviors. If I worked as a barista at the fancy coffee house and then I go to work at the drive-thru of the local donut shop, I'll most likely need to learn new routines and behaviors in order to be successful at the donut shop. Hopefully my manager will realize this so that he or she can help me to be successful. As we dive down a bit deeper, we see emotional intelligence. I define emotional intelligence as how well I know myself, how well I read others, and how smart I am, at least enough to know that I need to use that information to build better relationships with others. Some of us have it, others of us don't. But if we want to, we can build emotional intelligence. Next, we have critical thinking skills. Not quite IQ, more like how we solve problems. Can we draw inferences from information? Can we separate assumptions from facts? Can we make good decisions? As we start to head toward the bottom of the iceberg, we see our core values. When did you develop your values? Probably at a very young age, way down at the base of your iceberg. And at the base is personality. This is at the base because many studies now show that almost 2/3 of your personality is actually inherited. The rest is developed through your upbringing, your early work experiences, those initial experiences you have in life. In fact, by the time someone's about 30 years old, personality is fairly established. Now, I don't know about you, but my clients are over 30. And if they're not, many of their coworkers are. So it's incredibly beneficial for my clients to understand their own personalities as well as the personalities of the people around them. There are many assessments out there, but through our research and years of experience, we've found some great tools for each layer of the iceberg. Our goal is to always recommend tools that balance validity, reliability, cost-effectiveness, and usability. That is, do normal people understand them? One of the most popular behavioral assessment tools is DISC. It helps people to understand if they're more dominant, influencing, conscientious, or steady. The simplicity of the model also makes it easy to read others and to use that information to make better connections with others. When it comes to emotional intelligence, there's a number of free assessments on the web. If you're looking for something with greater statistical validity, try the Barron EQI. It measures EQ on 13 different competencies. One word of caution. Most experts agree that self-assessments of emotional intelligence only measure someone's awareness of how to behave in various situations. The best way to measure whether or not someone actually demonstrates emotional intelligence is through 360-degree feedback. For critical thinking skills, I prefer the Watson-Glaser 2. It helps people to learn about their ability to draw inferences from information, separate assumptions from fact, draw good conclusions, and solve problems. Looking for a simple way to help others discover their core beliefs and what's really important to them? Pick up the book Now Discover Your Strengths by Marcus Buckingham and Donald Clifton. For less than $20, your clients will receive a link to an online assessment and a book guiding them to utilize their strengths and values to their best advantage. For personality, my favorite tool is the Workplace Big 5 Profile. It measures personality on 5 super traits and 24 subtraits. It's based on the 5-factor model of personality, which is used in behavioral health applications, and it's often referenced in popular psychology. The Big 5 also predicts how personality influences your values, your level of emotional intelligence, and your natural energy for performing over 50 job-related competencies. So with this robust tool, you can cover a lot of territory, all for one low cost. I skipped over past experiences. I'm sure you use various reflective learning techniques to understand how your client's past shapes their current habits. So what do you do with this information? First, think about why you coach people. Are you helping clients to be more effective leaders, search for new careers, or build stronger relationships with others? What personal attributes or layer of the iceberg are important to your core beliefs? Things that you often emphasize in your work. Perhaps you feel strongly about the benefits of emotional intelligence in building personal and professional relationships. Answering these questions will help you to decide which layers of the iceberg you address and which assessments you need to add value to your toolkit. Now, choosing the right assessments for you. If you've decided to supplement your coaching programs with assessments, it's essential that you thoroughly evaluate your tools and providers. Here's 5 questions that you should ask when evaluating assessment products. First, how valid and reliable is this tool? How does it compare to the validity and reliability of others? This isn't designed to be a course in statistics, but there's a few important terms you should know. Generally, validity tells you the relationship between the assessment tool and some behavioral or outcome criteria. In essence, it's the measurement of how accurately the assessment corresponds to what you see in the real world. There's many types of validity studies that can be done, and it can be overwhelming. Ask to read the psychometric studies associated with the assessments so you can compare them for yourself. Generally speaking, tools with higher degrees of validity will be okay to use in the recruiting and selection process. So if you're helping clients with career and promotional decisions, this would be important to you. Some tools with moderate degrees of validity can be more cost-effective, but they only measure the behaviors that are at the tip of the iceberg. These are great tools to use to whet someone's appetite and begin to introduce the concept of self-discovery to them. You may also find that more robust tools have more significant certification programs, which brings us to question 2. What kind of training or certification do I need to use an assessment? Based on a commitment to accurate and ethical assessments of individuals, providers use qualification systems to help ensure the right tools are in the right hands. The most sophisticated tools require a high level of expertise in test interpretation, and therefore require licensure or certification to practice in your state in a field related to the assessment tool. Some even require a doctorate degree in psychology, education, or a closely related field with evidence of formal training in psychometric tools. Others have absolutely no special qualifications for purchase and may require a simple certification class to be able to administer the tools. Supercharged coaches tap into the training and support provided by their vendors, and they also network with other certified consultants to broaden their knowledge, to develop their coaching skills, and to ensure that they're using the tools in the most effective manner. Question number 3. So how do you choose a provider? First, consider whether the firm is an assessment publisher, consultancy, distributor, or software company. Each will provide different levels of academic, research, or organizational development expertise. Your own knowledge base and experience will dictate the type of information and support needed from the assessment provider. Second, consider the level of customer support offered by the provider. Does the training offered initially and on an ongoing basis meet your needs? What costs are involved with the ongoing support? Can they provide insight to help you review assessment results and design programs for your clients? Do they provide facilitation kits to make one-on-one or group coaching sessions a breeze? In the last 15 years, I've administered over 20,000 assessments. I've used assessments for coaching, career planning, training, team building, succession planning, and much, much more. I share my experience using assessments with coaches and clients. I teach them how to apply assessments in their work, but I'm not a researcher. You may find some providers that conduct research but don't have a lot of real-world experience. Their tools are still great tools, but just be aware that you might not get ideas or kits for debriefing clients if that's what you need. Question number 4. What are the legal restrictions for using an assessment? Does the tool comply with industry guidelines and with employment legislation? In the United States, the Department of Labor has specific guidelines for utilizing assessments to support hiring decisions. Although these restrictions seldom impact coaching engagements, it's important to realize that many clients embrace the assessment process and they've got a desire to learn more about both their existing team members and future job candidates. The client may wish to utilize the same assessments he or she experienced in the coaching process when considering potential new hires. A coach should be knowledgeable about a tool's application before diving in. Be sure to talk to your attorney about using assessments with your clients. And while you're at it, talk to your accountant to understand if there's sales or other tax requirements. And finally, question number 5, how much will it cost? Typically, you'll pay anywhere from a few hundred to a few $1,000s for startup. This covers your training or certification, access to an online report ordering and management system, and materials you can use to promote the assessments and work with your clients. Then, you pay for each assessment you order. Typically, that's anywhere from $10 to $150 per assessment. And you can usually purchase additional facilitation materials or support based on your needs. One important thing to remember: higher costs don't necessarily mean better quality tools or support. Sometimes the least expensive assessments can give your clients just the insight they need to make better decisions about their lives. If a client is leery about assessments, or if they have a tight budget, I start with a cost-effective tool. Trust me, once they get hooked, they're willing to invest even more in the use of assessments personally and for their business. So, that brings us to our second video. I'll share how I've created predictable passive revenue streams utilizing assessments and 5 things your competitors are doing to get clients excited about using assessments. Watch it now or save it for later. In either case, I'm sure you'll find ways to supercharge your business by providing valuable insight to your clients while making the money you need to create the life you love.